Dale digs down under.
I'm digging down under me shed.
Now I've got the panels hooked up. I've actually got this thing turned on and running through this cable, which I've just got dodgily put through there. But that's connected up at the moment and charging the batteries over in the shed. But now what I got to do is turn it all off, disconnect this cable, get it inside some conduit. So I've broken up the concrete here along my pathway. I've dug the trench. I've found the existing conduits and stuff that I got down in the ground. Underneath there is that conduit that I put in way back when I put in that pathway over there. I've had to chuck in a pipe at the other end. So what this pipe's going to be for is to run these solar power cables that I got here. I know it's very dodgy, but these are all the power cables that connect my power wall that's in the shed. So I've got to get it hooked up into there, and I've got to get it through into the shed. When it comes up into the shed from that little bit of pipe down there, I'm going to have to sneak it up this pole, cross over this bit of timber here, and then follow this beam along. I've already got a couple of the cables poking through holes that I've drilled in the wall here. So on the other side of the wall, I've got the MC4 connectors that go up into the bottom of that Victron Easy Solar. Those cables aren't connected at the moment. They're two 4mm squared cables, and this one's a 6mm squared cable. That's that one that's already hooked in, so that's the one I've got to disconnect up the top, get it inside the conduit, get it through this hole, and put it into a connector just like this one, so that way I've got two outlets. So that's going to have to go there on the wall. It'll give me two outlets coming off of there, and then I can run my conduits along. I've got to duck down the shop, get one of these, we'll get this thing sorted. Well, I've got these conduits here in place. It was some bloody rigmarole to get it in, but it's in, and I've come across here with both conduits. I've got the 6mm one up the top here and the two 4s down the bottom. Then we continue down around the corner here, and I'm just hauling them through into that bloody conduit down there. So I'm using a fiberglass snake here and taping up the cable onto it, and I've got it fed through, and coming underneath all of those other pipes out there, I've already got one cable through. Now it's time to just tape on those two 4mm, and we'll have all of them through into the trench. Picked up some orange conduit. This white stuff's just comms cable, but all of the electrical stuff will be in bright orange. That way it's easy for anyone to see in the future that wants to dig a hole. And there we are, all taped up. I tape up past the end and make it as smooth as possible. Just that way it'll hopefully guide past any of the obstructions and stuff that could come across. Pretty basic run this one, but it's always a good tip to make sure you go past the end of your cable when you're taping her on. Now I've got both those 4s and the 6 through. It's time to get this thing into this orange conduit. Oh, we're almost done. Almost got the solar hooked up. It's the next phase of the job done. I've got them inside the conduits, and I've got the conduits run all the way up to the house, tucking in around there, coming up the wall, and beautiful. Just got to wire these things in now. Neat and tidy, look at that. Oh, I'm bloody impressed with my work there. Two 10mm squared cables coming in here from the panels. That side there is the one that's connected to the array that's on the roof. That side there is for the future array. Then they switch sides, so these things work 1, 3, 5, 7. Down here you've got 2, 4, 6, 8. So 1 comes through to 2, 3 comes through to 4, and so on. So they're connected up the right way and it's ready to turn back on. Over here I've got 2 lots of 4mm squared cable, taking it to the shed, and 1 lot of 6mm squared. 6mm squared is way more than I need for the run, but a 4mm squared isn't quite enough. So I've got 2, and that'll do the trick. Now just put the cover on, eh? You beauty. So with the cover now back on that thing and everything switched on, I'm making power off of my solar panel. The only thing is I've only got 4 panels up on the array, and I've got almost room for 6, so I've got the 5th one hooked up, but I need to get the 6th one up on there. So out of the random stuff that I've gotten from picking up those cheap and free solar panels, I've got these extra 2 little extension pieces that used to join 2 rails together. What I plan to do, these things are 200mm long, and I only need to extend the rail up on the roof by 180mm. That just works out too good. I've found this piece of alley that I had laying around on the shed floor. I bloody collect stuff all the time. Like, I'm always picking stuff like this up out of the bin and wherever I can find it. I'm such a bloody hoarder. But comes in handy sometimes, because if you look at the spacing on this thing, that fits in there beautifully. I've already drilled one of them. What I need to do is cut this thing in half, and that way I've got a piece for both sides. Extend my rails and use the original type of clips rather than drilling up and into my solar panels. Charlie, you can't be part of this, so go on, go somewhere else. Thank you. Bloody safety dog you are, aren't you? Nothing safe about you. There we go, 2 pieces now. They should be about the same length. Let's join these things up. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pre-drill this, because as the screw goes through, it'll hit the other side and try and bloody eat its way through there, and it's likely to snap the bloody head off the thing. So I'll pre-drill these 2 pieces, and then that way, this thing will just join in. Whoops. There we go, nice and tight. I'll do the same thing for the rest of them. So we're back up on the roof now, guys, and I've pre-drilled 2 holes in here. What I'm using for these 12 gauge screws is a 4.5mm drill bit. Seems to drill the perfect size hole to get this through. Now I just need to attach this thing. And the best part about any of the swarf that I created up here, it's all aluminium, so it's not going to rust out the bloody roof sheets, is it? So let's chuck this next one on and get this panel up in place, eh? They're a perfect addition. They make it just the right length, eh? Bloody stoked I kept those things. Well, there we go, there's that last one up there. I guess my measuring tape wasn't lying at all. Bloody spot on. How good is it when you just got stuff lying around that'll do the job for you? I put a bit of that copper anti-seize on all of these too, so hopefully it does the trick and doesn't seize up in the future, but there's only one way to find out, and that's giving it a shot. Now I'm going to have to duck down the bottom and get some stuff to snip off these cable ties, and then get these things plugged in. Bloody close. Hook them into these 2. We got all 6 panels in the array done. So I've already got these ones sorted out here. I've got everything joined together in series, and I've got the next cable coming over and plugged in up there. I've ducked down the ladder and I've turned all the system off. It says not to disconnect these things under load, so I figured it's probably a bad idea to connect them under load as well. So we'll plug these things in, chuck a zip tie around here, trim that tail off for all you OCD people. That's hooked up. Let's go turn it on again. On she goes. Says I'm making negative 130 watts at the moment. It's late in the afternoon here, pretty much at the end of the day. We'll see what she makes tomorrow. Now that that's all done though, I've got to patch up this concrete, don't I? I've backfilled it all, and I've got all the cables and everything inside the conduits and everything nice and neat. So I'll go down and I'll get some sand and gravel and some bags of concrete. I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll break up this little bit here. I was trying to keep it just because of my dodgy handrail. But I'll smash that up and support the handrail so it doesn't fall over. And then I'll get it re-concreted in. I'm probably just going to go and grab the 9-inch grinder and do a cut across here. Make this nice and straight. I do want to replace all this concrete in the future, but who knows how many years that's going to be down the track. And I was just going to patch it up to suit this, but I may as well do a proper job. Well, I needed 8 buckets worth of sand and gravel for this job, and I got the perfect 8 here. Bloody awesome. Let's get this stuff mixed up and into the hole where it's supposed to be. I've got the first wheelbarrow in there now. I've made it a little bit wetter than what I'd like it, but I've done that so that there's plenty of moisture for that other edge to actually absorb up before it makes the concrete shrink too much. So I'm hoping with an extra bit of cement that I've put in there and having it nice and wet like this for that edge to not bloody shrink it, I reckon I should get this to grip on. We'll see how it goes. And I've left this here bulging up a little bit. As the moisture comes out of it, it's going to shrink down as well, and that should give me a nice level surface. Time to get this next section filled up. I'll mix up another barrow load. Should get me to out there, I reckon. Okay, that's the third wheelbarrow in the hole now, guys. Kind of shaped this so it's going to look right. And I'm up to just round the corner here. I don't think I'm going to quite take a full barrow to fill that, but we'll knock up the last bit and get that in. Well, that's all the concrete that I've made up in the hole now, guys. She's looking pretty bloody schmicko there. I did a bit of an edgy thing up here. I'm hoping to expose that bit and actually leave that when I do a future driveway. And then I'll probably break all of this out and break the ramp out and you name it when I actually do the new driveway, because I want it all to be in like an exposed look. So what I plan to do with this bit though is I'm not really putting a proper edge on it. I'm just like diving the blade of the edge down into there and making it all rough. Same with all the way along here. I don't want a perfect edge. I'm leaving that bit as like a bull-nosed edge, like a new bit of slab. But then this bit, just trying to blend it in with the old one, make it look very similar. Once I actually get this to dry out a bit, because there's a lot of water bleeding out of it, I'll hit all this with the hose and scuff all this bit as well. Try and weather it. I don't want to actually expose it and have like stones really showing. I just want it to be weathered. I want it to have a similar look to this stuff. It's not going to be the same, but we'll see how close we can get it. Oh, we'll have a look at it as soon as it's ready to be washed off. I've had some bloody chickens walk out here. I've had some other small bird walk across here too. That was bloody classic. Alright, I'll wipe all that in. There we go, guys, all finished off and concreted in. It's got a nice weathered look on it there. Should work a treat. Remember, small knocks break bloody big rocks. See you next time.